Sir,
thank you for
nice to meet you. No, my pleasure.
Yes. Okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? How are you all doing?
Doing good too. Thank you.
Sure.
Can we
good
get
to see you all. Thanks for inviting me.
Sorry.
I said good to see you all. Thanks for inviting me. Vadapalni is my kind of neighborhood. That's where I grew up.
All right.
Kodambakam, Vadapalni. So
it's our pleasure to have
yeah.
here. And what about Jedsada? You joined?
So he's joining now, sir. Just 1 minute, sir.
Right.
He said he's joining.
Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, I think he has joined. Please make him the co-host.
Manikanan, sir.
Name please, ma'am. Which name? It's a jet.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Available.
I would like to welcome Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian. Welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us today.
Tipmontian, you're not audible.
Good
morning.
Good morning.
Very good morning to you, sir. Welcome. Welcome to the meet.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very pleased to be the part of this conference.
Good morning, Jedsada. How are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing well, sir. Thank you.
Good to hear that.
Yes, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
What's the time there in your place?
Ma'am, I
There is some, there is some problem. Yes.
So can we
I'll just
start?
get it started. Sir, can we start? Yeah.
If everybody has joined, probably we can start.
Preeta, ma'am, please go ahead.
Yes. Very good morning to one and all. Greetings from Department of CSE, SRM IST Vadapalni Campus, Chennai. I am Dr. C.A.S. Devapreeta, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE. I feel privileged to extend a very warm welcome to the distinguished dignitaries, faculty members, and all the participants who are with us today for IRCICD 2022, the virtual international research conference on IoT, cloud, and data science. Prayer is the most powerful form of energy one can generate. It supplies us with the flow of sustaining power. So let us begin the program with invocation song. I now request Mr. Manikanan to play Tamil Thai Varth. Manikanan sir, please play the video. Thank you, sir. Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity. Sunlight expels the darkness of mind. Similarly, blessings brings in prosperity and happiness in our life. Though it's an online event, we still want to go by our traditional practice. To make this event a blessed one, we now like to invoke Goddess Saraswati by kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. I request all the dignitaries to join us for the virtual lighting of Kuttuvilakku. Manikanan sir, again, I request you to play Kuttuvilakku lightning video, please. Thank you, sir. The International Research Conference on IoT, Cloud and Data Science, IRCICD 2022, is the premier forum for the presentation of technological advances and research results in the field of applied computer science and information technology. IRCID 22 aims to bring together researchers from industry, academicians, business delegates, research scholars, and graduate students from around the world to share their experiences, new ideas, and research results across aspects of IoT, cloud, and data science. Department of CSE takes great pleasure in inviting you all this morning to this IRC ICD 22 inaugural program. I first like to invite the dynamic HOD of our CSE department, Dr. S. Prasanna Devi, who is the very reason for this event happening today. She stood by every team behind the conference so as to scale it up to this height. I now request Dr. Prasanna Devi to give the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Is my presentation seen, ma'am?
No, ma'am. It's still
Not
the
yet,
banner
ma'am.
that
It's
you
not
said.
good.
Is it okay now? Can you see it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. But we are seeing some transition, not the first slide. Yes.
Yeah.
Fine. Very good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Vadapalani campus, I deem it a great privilege to welcome you all for this International Research Conference on IoT, Cloud and Data Science, IRCICD 2022. So first and foremost, I would like to extend my gratitude to our Pro-Chancellor Administration and the complete management for giving us this opportunity to conduct and host this international research conference today. So though he's not able to join us for today's conference, I extend my gratitude and welcome to Dr. Ravi Pachamuthu in absentia. It's also my great privilege to welcome the chief guest for the day, Mr.Jay Vijayan, sir, the founder and CEO of Tekion. Sir, I've gone through the articles published in Wikipedia just to know about you, sir. When we started inviting you, it was truly inspiring, sir. I should say I read the Indian Express and few of your YouTube videos. It was mind-blowing and I was truly inspired. I firmly believe that you would be the best guest to open up this forum, the research conference. I saw how you have transitioned from being a geologist in your undergrad and postgrad, and then you went on being a technical guy in Oracle, VMware, and so on. And you have risen to the level of the CIO of Tesla. So that was a great transition that I could see. And after that, I've also gone through the video or your interview, I think. So that was also amazing, wherein you have showcased all your entrepreneurial skills in establishing the Tekion as the founder and CEO in 2016, if I'm not wrong. So this journey, which has really inspired me, also I came to understand that you had a patents, you hold many patents in your name from the articles that I've read. So I firmly believe that you're the best person and we somehow wanted to have you with us for this inauguration of the conference. You're the right person to set the stage on for this international research conference. At this point, I take time, for taking your time out, your busy schedules and giving us the consent. I really thank you for that, and I heartily welcome you for this international research conference. I'm sure that all the participants present here for this conference, for presenting their papers, they'll get the wide knowledge that is required for the interdisciplinary research to happen, which is the most required. Interdisciplinary nature is the most required topic of the day. So I heartily welcome you, sir. I also welcome your communications director, Mr. Aravindan, who has helped us a lot to fix up their schedules, and he has been with us all through this journey. So I welcome Mr. Aravindan, the Communications Director of the Tekion for this conference. Welcome, sir. And it's also my privilege and pleasure to welcome my good friend, Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian, the Associate Dean at International Academy of Aviation Industry. He's a very good system engineering expert, I should say, and he's the right person to talk how technology can be used for different e-supply chains. And today he said he wanted to touch upon how the technology is helping international trade and for the e-supply chain management, which is actually the topic of research many students, many of our research scholars are into. So I heartily welcome you, Dr. Jedsada. And I also deem it my privilege to welcome the patrons of SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Vadapalni campus, the Dean, Dr. C.V. Jayakumar, the Vice Principals, Dr. C. Gomati, Dr. Kesavan, and Dr. Karthikeyan. They have given us the immense support that is required for the successful hosting of this conference. Without their support, I'm sure that this conference wouldn't have seen the limelight. So I heartily welcome you all. I also deem it a great privilege to welcome my co-colleagues, the other department HODs, Dr. Rajaraman, Dr. Shirley, Dr. Prasida, Dr. Rajesh, Dr. Jagannathan, Dr. Sabrinathan, Ms. Pumati, and Mr. Sebastian. I welcome you all for this International Research Conference. Thanks for all the support you have rendered throughout the conduct of this conference. Thank you. I also welcome my very own team, the team CSE. So without the support of these faculties out here, I'm sure that this conference wouldn't have seen the limelight again at this grand manner. We have got so many papers. It's all because of the hard work that has started way back in 3 to 4 months back. So I also heartily congratulate the organizing secretaries, Dr. Pavai, Dr. Golda Dilip, and Dr. Durga Devi, for successfully hosting this conference today. They have taken the pain of working day and night, especially for the last 1 week. So thank you for all the support, and I heartily welcome you all. And it's also my duty to welcome the other session chairs and the valedictory speaker of the day for today and for tomorrow. The session chairs, Dr. Kayarviri from BMS College of Engineering, Dr. Venkatesan from Karunya University, Dr. Kavita. Few of the session chairs have already joined, so I heartily welcome you all, ma'am. Dr. Kavita from Reva University, Dr. Jansi Rani from SSN College of Engineering, Dr. Vaidehi from Stanley College of Engineering and Technology, Dr. Kalaivani from Savita School of Engineering, and Dr. Satish Kumar from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. And I also welcome an absentia. She said she'll be joining us very soon. My good friend, Dr. Meenakshi Arya, who's the Professor, School of AI and Associate Director, Internationalization. Though her session is for the tomorrow's valedictory, she said she'll be joining us for today as well as for tomorrow. Thank you for that, ma'am. And last but not the least, it's my great pleasure to welcome all the delegates from across India and a few delegates from abroad as well, who have submitted their papers and who are going to present their papers for today's conference. So I heartily welcome all the delegates. I'm sure that without your support, this conference will not be happening today. So thanks for all the trust that you have shown, and I am sure that you'll have a very great learning experience out of this 2 days conference. And just to touch upon why this theme and about the conference, I'm sure that these 4 words, that is IoT, cloud, and data science, is a buzzing words of technology today. So we have started using that buzzing words as the conference theme ever since 2020. So this is the 5th in the series of the conference, and this is 3rd virtual conference ever since 2020, the pandemic hit. We have started hosting the conferences online, and this is the 3rd International Virtual Research Conference hosted by the Department of Computer Science Engineering. And I'm very proud that we have successfully published many papers in the Scopus Index journals, which means that is the quality of publication and quality of papers that we select out of this conference. So, and the publication partner for this year is Material Science Forum. It's an interdisciplinary research journal again, which is Scopus Index. So this is a piece of information for all the delegates out here. And last but not the least, we have selected around 66% of the total papers that we have received. And this publication statistics simply says that the quality of research has been maintained to the highest possible standards that we can. And the publication, the participants who have joined us today, so they are from the different parts of India, majorly from Tamil Nadu, I should say, and a few international participants as well. So once again, it's my great privilege to welcome all the guests, the dignitaries, the patrons, and all the delegates for this international research conference. Wish you all a very fruitful learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the welcome address. I now like to invite Dr. G. Pavayanand, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science. As the organizing secretary of IRCICD 2022, she has been extending her significant support and guidance for this conference over the years. With all her tireless efforts, this conference has scaled up as an excellent venue for exploring trends in IoT, cloud, and data science. I now call upon Dr. Pavayanand to deliver the genesis of conference.
Thank you, Dr. Preeta, for those kind words. A very good morning to the chief guest of the day, Mr.Jay Vijayan, founder and CEO of Tekion, ex-Tesla, VMware, Oracle executive entrepreneur, Inventor, board member and investor, Professor Jedsada Tipmontian, Associate Dean, International Academy of Aviation Industry, King Mongkut Institute of Technology, Thailand, and all the respected dignitaries, professors, research scholars, students, ladies, and gentlemen. First and foremost, I thank the convener of this conference in HOD CSE, the management, dean, and the vice principals for giving me this opportunity to take you through the genesis of the conference. As rightly said by Matti Stepanek, unity is strength. When there is teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved. This conference by the Department of CSE stands as an example to this saying. The conference is indeed a teamwork where not only the committee members play a role in its success, but the chief guests, keynote speakers, session chairs, participants, publication partners, publicity partners, and of course, the authors jointly make the event a grand success. The conference was first started by the Department of CSE titled Research Conference on Data and Decision Science in the year 2018. The conference was inaugurated by Dr. Y. Narahari, Chair, Division of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and Dr. T.V. Geeta, Senior Professor, CSE, and Dean, College of Engineering, Anna University, Guindy Campus, Chennai, who were the chief guests on May 4, 2018. Dr. K. Surya Prakash Rao, Professor, retired from Anna University, and Dr. B. Amuda, Professor and Head of CSE Department, SRM IST, Katankulatur Campus, with the session chairs for this conference. The following year, the conference took its current title, Research Conference on IoT, Cloud, and Data Science in 2019, conducted on the 5th and 6th of April, 2019. Excuse me. The conference was inaugurated by Mr. Manoharan Irulandi, Global Director, Operations, HCL Technologies, and Dr. Karthikeyan Vayapuri, Scientist, R&D, Research and Innovation, Retail Research Vision Head, Tata Consultancy Services, who were the chief guests for the day. Ms. Rajalakshmi Srinivasan, Product Manager in Evangelist Zoho Corporation Private Limited, was a guest of honor. In the year 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit the academicians the hard way, as we all know. However, Team CSE kept the spirits high and took up the challenge of conducting the conference in an online mode, the preparations of which was done in a very short span of time. The event was conducted online on May 11, 2020, with Dr. Arivudai Nambi, Director, Center for Affiliations, Anna University, as a chief guest, and eminent people from different academic institutions across the country serving as session chairs for 7 parallel sessions. In 2021, the conference turned out to be an international conference, assuming the title International Research Conference on IoT, Cloud, and Data Science 2021. The conference was conducted online for the second time with better vibes in spite of the second wave of the pandemic that started by the time the conference was conducted. The conference was a grand success with more than 200 participants from all over the country. We had 3 keynote speakers, Dr. Nitin Chandarwal, Associate Professor, Educator of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, College of Engineering and Applied Science, Rhodes Hall, University of Cincinnati, United States of America. Mr. Sambat Margabandhu, Lead Consultant, Machine Learning and AI at Confidential, Johannesburg area, South Africa, and Dr. Ishwa Krishna Iyer, Senior Associate Professor of Marketing Director, Admissions, Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai, as guests for the event. And today, we have the 5th year of the conference before us, and the two guests, Mr. Jay Vijayan and Dr.Jedsada Tipmontian, who by their mere presence speak volumes on the success of the conference. I take this as an opportunity to thank you both for kindly accepting our invite and being here with us today. Thank you both, sirs. And thanks to the team CSE, who in all the 5 years have been pillars of support in conducting the conference. I also thank HOD CSE, Vice Principals, Dean CET, Vadapalli for giving me this opportunity. And I hope the conference continues in all its grandeurs in the upcoming years too. Thank you all, and over to Dr. Preeta.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Ravi Pachamuthu sir, Pro-Chancellor Administration, SRM IST, is not able to join us today for delivering the presidential address. He likes to convey his warm greetings and felicitations to the organizing committee and the participants, and extend his best wishes for the grand success of the conference. Thank you, sir. I now like to invite Dr. C. Gomati, Vice Principal Academics and Placement. She has been a great support for the entire conference team towards providing one such wonderful platform for the researchers and academicians to freely exchange their research ideas with others and gain valuable insights to their work. I request Gomati ma'am to deliver the special address.
Thank you, ma'am. So once again, let me join the team in welcoming Mr. Jay Vijayan from CEO Tekion and Dr. Jedsada, who have readily accepted to be the guest for the inauguration session of this particular international conference. So as been understood from the genesis, which has been read by Dr. Pavai, as well as the introduction given by Dr. Prasanna, the HOD of the department. This is the 5th international conference, and correctly coining the recent advancements which are happening in today's world, IoT, cloud, and data science. So as we are all aware, IoT is now ruling the world in the sense like everything is turning out to be smart, whether it is cities or it is coming to the traffic or anything and all that. So you're connecting billions of devices, and you're trying to connect it through the internet, wherein you will be making use of such advancements like the cloud computing, or now even people are moving towards the edge computing also, right? So as your the basic thing of this is going to be the sensors, a large amount of data you may have to deal with, wherein the data science also play a role. Even as we are looking at the advancements of the data science, we are also finding that DAAS is actually popularly been used as far as the data scientists are concerned. And I hope that all these things will be touched upon, and the papers relevant to all these advancements will be presented in the forthcoming session. So once again, let me join the team in welcoming the chief guest, Mr. Jay Vijayan, and Dr. Jedsada, who is the Associate Dean from the Bangkok University. And let me once again wish the conference IRCICD'22 a grand success. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gomati ma'am. I now like to invite Dr. C.V. Jayakumar, Dean, College of Engineering and Technology, SRM IST, Vadapalni. Department of CSE extends a very big thanks to him for all the support, motivation, and encouragement that he has provided all through, without which this event could not have been organized in its current magnitude. I now request our Dean to deliver the felicitation address.
Thank you, Dr. Prasida. Good morning to all present here. At the outset, I would like to join the team of Computer Science Department in extending a hearty welcome to the guest, Mr. Jay Vijayan and Professor Jedsada, who have readily accepted our invite to be present at the odd timing as well. It's really heartening to note that the department has initiated the international conference on the relevant topics like IoT, cloud, and data science. And the momentum is kept going as this being the 5th time they're organizing in series. And though during the pandemic period, they have not let it off. So it's really heartening to note that this is the 3rd virtual conference from 2020. And it's also very, I'm elated to note that out of 233 papers they have received, the team has scrutinized or shortlisted about 154 papers. And I'm sure that the deliberations would bring in more thought-provoking ideas for the development of the topics chosen. Recently, I'm just thinking about the growth of the the IoT or the cloud or whatever the case be. Recently, we visited the IIT Madras Research Park, and to my shock, I could rather say, the development of
Sir, I've muted all. You can continue.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Maybe somebody enjoyed the speech. We'll take it that way. What else? So I'm sorry. When we visited the one of the startup, I can't say it is startup. It's about closer to about 7+ years old. For the server for the SRM IST Vadapalani campus, they have shown a server could be of a size hardly about 5 centimeter length by 4 centimeter width, depth of about 6 millimeter. So that is going to be the size of the server for a university nature. So that is the development of development in the field of computer science or electronics, or in general, I can say it is a technological domain. So I'm sure that things are going to change drastically well, and miniaturization is going to be the order of the day in the days to come. I'm sure that the today's conference will go well and throw more light into the recent developments. And I wish each and every one of you a great learning process and exchange of thoughts and ideas. Wish the conference all the success, and may God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It is our pleasure and privilege to have Mr. Jay Vijayan, founder and CEO of Tekion, as our chief guest today for the inaugural event. He is the founder and CEO of Tekion Corporation, a technology company building and delivering world's best business applications on the cloud, and is currently focused on transforming the automotive industry. Mr. Jay Vijayan has a proven experience in building simple and highly scalable technology platforms and solutions that help transform, scale businesses, and enable highest level of operational efficiencies. Prior to Tekion as the Chief Information Officer of Tesla Incorporation, for over 4 years, he led a global team which built and scaled Tesla's digital and information platform from ground up. And before that, before joining Tesla, he led the business applications development group for VMware during its significant accelerated growth phase. Preceding VMware, he was leading the product development teams at Oracle for over 7 years. We are extremely delighted to have Mr. Jay Vijayan, an entrepreneur, inventor, and an eminent business leader with us today to inaugurate the conference. I would like to quote Thirukural, Devathan Agadeninum Muyarchi Tanmaivartha Kulitaram. If you completely immerse and exert yourself in a task, you will get the rewards which even God cannot give. He stands as a perfect example to this Thirukural. We now like to greet him with a short video to introduce Mr. Jay Vijayan to our audience today. I request Mr. Manikannan to play the intro video, please. Thank you. I now like to invite Mr. Jay Vijayan to deliver the inaugural address.
Sir, you're not audible.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, it's fine now. Thank you.
Like that seems to be the most popular word. Can you hear me now? Or the phrase after the pandemic. So I'm glad all of you can hear me. Sorry about that. Dr. Preeta, again, thank you for a very kind introduction. Really honored and privileged to be here with all of you. As I briefly mentioned before the start, I mean, I grew up in the neighborhood. When I saw Vadapalani, of course, it's there is a inherent connection. So that's where I grew up between, Kodambakam, Vadapalani to Virugambakam, all my childhood. Studied in Loyola School in Kodambakam, then AVM matriculation, which you may all know, right in the neighborhood there, and Avachi High School, where I did my higher secondary, and then Presidency College for my bachelor's, and then AC Tech, University of Madras for my master's. And I did, again, computer science at that time for me. And there's a lot of going back, thinking about the information age just started around that time. I didn't have the right level of guidance. Otherwise, I'm guessing I would have probably taken computer science. But definitely I wanted to do something unique. But the nice thing was I was exposed to computer science very early in my career, even though while I was doing my bachelor's. Between me and my dad, we started a computer science training center as well as a software development center. So we did a lot of work. So in parallel, I should say, computer science for some reason really attached with me from that time onwards. I'm not an expert, I'm not great, but I learned it over a period of time. I think you mentioned hard work. Definitely there was a lot of hard work over a period of time. Learning computer science. I'm glad I did. And it took my career, I should say, where I am today. So there are a few things I wanted to share today. Just honestly, a little bit about my experience, my life in learning. And then I wanted to close it down about the industry today. And again, the core of this conference about cloud, IoT, data science, and all of those, something I lived through, especially from my little bit on the VMware side, but lot during my Tesla times. As you may all know, globally, that's really one of the core strengths of what Tesla is doing. And then in my company at Tekion. So quickly, I did briefly share about my background, where I did my education all through my master's in India. While I did that, we did start the computer science training center and computer science software development as well. So that's where I started learning my computer science experience. From a business experience perspective, very young age, so we continued to grow the computer center, but there was a time in which we hit a wall, I should say, where we didn't know how to scale the computer center because we took a loan from one of the banks, gave our document of the building or the house as a collateral to the bank. But to the level where business was growing, we worked really hard. Some of my friends, we all went together to really turn this around and continue to grow. But we hit a wall in the sense there was a time where this was 1994, 95. There is really no concept of venture capitalist or private equity. You have to go back to the bank, right? Like if you have a loan or you have to borrow from someone in your friends. So we went, we tried all options. It really didn't work out because bank said you already borrowed enough. We can't give you any more money, but we couldn't expand the business. So it was sad that we couldn't really take beyond that. We had to really slowly close it down. That kind of stayed with me, and end of the day, we couldn't really close the bank loan as well. So it stayed with me that I had to really prove myself. I have to really be much better. I have to do very successful in business. And I think some of the learnings I went through in my earlier career, I think helped me to do what I'm doing, what I started doing much later. So I went out to do a job. I started working in the Middle East very briefly, again in computer science, a company called as Bhavan Cybertech briefly for 6 months. And then I worked in Singapore, again in Bhavan Cybertech. I was a lead software engineer. And then I moved to Singapore, same thing. It was a senior programmer and then a lead programmer for some time. And then from Singapore, I did get an opportunity to work with Oracle. So basically, I was continuing to expand my skills. So Java and Oracle was my core skill at that time from a programming perspective. Then Oracle, I used to finish all of the Oracle certifications as and when it comes, latest and greatest. So I was one of the very few people in the early days finishing the Oracle certification. So it looks like Oracle noticed this, and then someone from Oracle reached out through one of their recruiting firms to say if I'd be interested in coming and working at Oracle at their headquarters in Redwood Shores. So that's how I relocated. I was having second thoughts, but eventually relocated to US and in Redwood Shores, Oracle headquarters, and continue to work there. A lot of learnings, almost 8 years in product development, engineering organizations, a lot of learning about how do you build products for scale. But at the same time, I also had a glimpse of, while Oracle is a phenomenal company, even massive company in terms of leading in many areas. At that time, from an enterprise software perspective, I felt there's a lot of opportunity to do it better. I felt it is a lot more heavyweight, a lot more monolithic. It could be much lightweight. Cloud was just coming. Not many people knew much about cloud at that time. Salesforce started right around 2001, 2002 timeframe. Benioff left Oracle and started Salesforce.com, but not many people knew. It was very, very early stages. So cloud was just coming along, but I had this idea why enterprise software has to be this complex. How can it be really simple? And then I felt there is an opportunity sometime in the future, I would probably enter into this business. It was seed of the idea. Of course, didn't have anything on how I'm going to do what I'm going to do, but I felt there's an opportunity to really do this better. So I had some patents that we filed at Oracle in terms of how do you make this much more lighter, and continue to think through that. Then there was a time where VMware approached me for a position in the company right around their IPO time. So I decided to make a move. So 2007, I joined VMware through their hyper growth timeframe. Had an opportunity to build a lot of systems internally for VMware while it grew really from a couple of $100 million in revenue all the way to $45 billion in market cap, significant amount of growth. Growth also brought a lot of new challenges, which we solved. That brought in a lot more learning for me and for my career. And that's when Tesla approached me. And in fact, early days, not many people knew. I also didn't know much about Tesla. This was 2010 was the first time. Again, very different than how the whole world knows about Tesla today. At that time, not many people knew what Tesla was because they didn't really have all the products that they had. Then I really first time I met Elon 2010. And in fact, I shared this in the past as well. So I was, I would say, at that time, I think it's the right reason, but I was foolish enough to say no to Elon. I literally rejected the offer because it was not attractive enough for me to make the move from VMware. I should say, luckily for me, I went back and was doing my job at VMware. And then Elon looks like remembered me from that interview. Something he felt I would be a fit for what Tesla needs to accomplish. So Tesla called me back again after a year in 2011. And I should say, I think I was lucky where Elon remembered me and I got that call. So I went and met him again and ended up taking the job. It still, again, just to point for the, your students, I'm pretty sure all of them are very smart. I don't know how smart I was at that time. I don't think I was this smart. So I had to make some calculated decision because I had to take a big pay cut to join Tesla. But something I felt there is an opportunity to learn more. I felt money is, even though, yes, I had to leave a lot of money at VMware, not only pay cut, but a lot of money in stocks as well at that time. I think somewhere around $1.5 million. It was a big deal for me, is because especially I was paying bank loans until 2006, until I was at Oracle. I was literally paying the bank loan which we took for our computer training center and software development, which we eventually closed down because banks have compound interest. So it was really compounding. It took a lot of, I would say, energy, mental energy, physical energy to get that closed down, paid off, because it's part of, I would say, more like an integrity thing for me. So it was a big deal for me to leave that much money, but I felt strongly Elon is on to something and I wanted to be part of this. Even if it didn't go great, I felt there will be learnings for me which will be invaluable, which I won't be able to learn anywhere else. So I joined Tesla, which proved to be a phenomenal opportunity. It was a very intense experience, but extraordinary experience, not only learning, but I think Elon brought the best out of me in really delivering things which normally in any case would be impossible. And only after getting it done, we felt such a gratification, like, wow, okay, we were able to get this done. Basically, building an ERP platform, replacing something like an SAP, which is a 40, 50-year-old platform, mature platform. We were able to replace that and build it ground up in literally, I would say, 4 months. That was the task Elon gave me. But part of that was a bigger picture was how he thought through. Of course, the vision was one sentence vision. So, but we were able to really bring that to life on how we can seamlessly connect, vertically integrate every part of the business with a closed feedback loop to its customers. Every part of the journey, from the time a customer engages with Tesla, to all the way when they buy a car, get it, picked up or delivered, and then the car connecting and sending information back, completely connected ecosystem. And honestly, that was an incredible vision. And I'm proud that I was able to be part of that and really contributing part of that to bring that to life, which I feel, such a, I would say, gratifying feeling to see when Tesla crossed $1 trillion in value and the most valuable car company, right? And everything from the technology systems, of course, great people whom I was able to hire, from people, process, and technology, all came together and we were able to deliver what Tesla needed. But at the same time, as I think all of you know, it's not about building software. We need to build software that is scalable, where we built the platform when the company, or we started building it when the company had almost zero revenue. And then you can see fast forward, it is $1 trillion plus company. And it's pretty much the same foundational platform that is running with incremental changes, but same platform, almost same team, and most of the same processes scaling globally. So really a proud moment. Now, Tekion, quickly, my idea was I decided to leave Tesla, started Tekion in 2016. I felt there is a huge opportunity, industry level opportunity to transform automotive industry. So what that means is automotive, just to give the size of the industry, just in the United States, it's 4% of US GDP, which is almost $1 trillion. That means $1 trillion goes through this ecosystem. The vision is build a true cloud native platform with IoT, AI, which is of course, built on top of data science, all inherently built part of the platform, and truly create an ecosystem to have a big portion of this $1 trillion ecosystem go through this technology platform. So that is the 50,000 foot vision. And I felt this is a compelling reason that many people thought I was crazy to leave a company like Tesla, especially establishing that level of trust. It was funny, one of my direct reports when I decided to leave came back and asked, Jay, at that time, I didn't mention to anyone what I'm going to do. And he asked me, like, are you going to work in President Obama's administration, some important secretive job? That way you're not announcing what you're doing. So it was funny to hear that. But the point is, many people thought I was crazy to leave that great position, but finally ended up leaving and starting Tekion because I felt there's a compelling reason to transform the automotive industry for good. Because the gist of what we are doing, and then I'll touch briefly on the cloud ecosystem. If you see, all of us, one way or the other, consumers of automotive, right? We buy cars, we rent, lease, ride share, one way or the other, we are consumers. Many times this buying, shopping experience, leasing experience, or even servicing experience is not great. It's not as simple as buying a phone like iPhone or an Android phone in Amazon or Flipkart. I felt that could be changed because such a big consumer ecosystem, the experience could be significantly better. Every part of the ecosystem, including connecting to vehicles, should be seamless in today's world. And also you could do that, securely, and also maintaining data privacy and transparency to consumers. So that vision is what we have been executing towards. We've been fortunate, growing rapidly. It was a lot of hard work, and I'm blessed to have an incredible team. So we have grown significantly from, in the last 6 years, from almost nothing to a $3.5 billion in value last year, and we have grown beyond that. We have some of the largest, manufacturing brands as not only our investors, many of our customers. So General Motors, which is the largest OEM in North America here by volume, is one of our investors, but also a big customer. Not only that, their electric vehicles are sold on our platform, Tekion platform. And on the retail ecosystem, we run any type of retail ecosystem, dealers, and anyone who wants to run retail on the cloud can use Tekion platform. In fact, the strong validation for us is the world's largest automotive dealer runs on our platform. So it's a proud thing to say because how well the platform is scaling. And we are operating in the US. We've expanded to Canada, and then we just expanded into Europe, starting with France to other countries as well. Now, very briefly, I want to touch on the technology ecosystem. So this is a conference about IoT, cloud, and data science. Something I've lived through, especially in the last, I'd say, 11 years. So from my Tesla time, I think it's such an important, not only important, but that pretty much is today's, and it is going to be part of the future as well. Everything that is coming, right? You can talk about, metaverse, or you could talk about autonomous cars. The foundation is all of these, right? It is everything is going to be on the cloud, because unless you're on the cloud, there's no way you can have a connected ecosystem. And then IoT should be inherent part of this, because any device today, starting from Tesla cars or General Motors cars or Apple, the Mac devices, any device, I think there is a massive value in being connected, of course, being secure. Data science is fundamental, as all of you know, part of for machine learning and artificial intelligence, right? There is really no intelligence without data. And processing massive amount of data, I think Dr. Jayakumar mentioned about his experience in IIT Madras research labs, and that is the future. The systems are going to, the processing power is going to continue to expand. The size is going to keep reducing, but at the same time, think about the outcome. The results are going to be massive. What are the things that we could do with that? in the future. And the conference, what you are all hosting, again, I want to applaud what you're doing for the last 5 years, especially last 3 years, even in spite of pandemic, doing it virtual, because this is important to bring people together. I felt that is the power of internet. That's the power of cloud, because when I started early days, and I didn't have this much of information available, in a touch or in a click, few keystrokes. That's not possible, right? I'm sure many of you know. I think not your students are young, but people, professors who have been here, that it was not that easy to get information. You have to really go walk into a conference, spend a lot of time to gather information and learn. You have to walk into a library, spend hours and hours to read books. That's not a bad thing. It's still a good thing. But information, the connectivity, social media was not available. I feel it is such a big gift for your students and the presenters, pretty much everyone, that they should take significant advantage of. Of course, internet also has things that may be a lot of distraction, even social media. And that's, I feel it's fundamentally important to filter out some of those noise, things that are not going to bring a lot of value to you personally or to your career or to anyone around you. I think that's something the students and everyone should build as part of their system to continue to grow in every way, right? So that's an important one. So again, we are in a great age to expand, grow, collaborate. In every part of, I would say, every industry, there is an inherent need for IoT, cloud, data science. And as I said, it's all intertwined together. In our platform, when we started building Tekion, we never thought it as an afterthought. And unfortunately for older platforms, older technologies that has been there for decades, they have to build it as a separate thing and then try to bolt it on. For us, when you build a platform newly, but that's what Tesla did in the automotive industry, build a car and the whole ecosystem from ground up with the latest and greatest and most modern. And same thing from Tekion perspective, we had this opportunity to do it right with the best of technology. And one of the things I want to add is technology is such an enabler, every part of this ecosystem. One core thing, I'm sure you've heard of this, but something I want to reiterate for all of your students. How do you filter between so much noise and anxiety? Because you will keep hearing buzzwords because technology moves so fast. It is very easy to get anxiety about how many things going on in the industry and get swayed around in different direction. Like, okay, I need to learn metaverse. I need to learn nanotechnology. I need to learn autonomous cars. So the point is, choose an area where every area will have something to do with cloud, doesn't matter what it is. Healthcare, doesn't matter. You'll have a cloud, you'll have an IoT, you're going to have data science. Make your foundation strong and decide an area that you're going to be passionate about, you're going to like involving in that particular industry. Doesn't matter which one it is, right? It could be core technology, it could be software, or it could be healthcare, or it could be space science. Doesn't matter. Every area will have this foundation. So make sure your foundation is strong. Choose an area that you're passionate about, and I would say focus on bringing value. How are you going to enhance value in that area that you're going to be associated with? That is fundamental, because if you're going to take technology and trying to fit something into it, it's never going to bring the best out of it, or it's never going to bring value. You need to find a true business problem to solve in any industry. And then you may have to connect to say what technologies are the best in where you are at the age and time you are in. And then you use that together to solve that business problem will be the best path to move forward. So with that, I will conclude my speech and really congratulate the whole the SRM faculty, staff, participants of this conference. All the best to make the best out of it. Wish you all a great success. And if there is any questions and if it's open for questions, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thanks for a very clear note on your education, your early career, and how you expanded your technical skills. I'm sure it was completely inspirational and motivational for all the young researchers who have joined this conference today. We have these researchers, and I'm sure they would have ideas like aspiring entrepreneurs, seed of the business ideas from you. Thank you so much for it.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
So,
Probably,
before we...
Probably, Jay Vijayan, you have made it very clear that there is no questions. Things are probably made very clear to the participants.
Glad to hear that.
I believe so. Anyway, nice.
Sorry, I lost
hope
the
that's the
connection.
case.
I'm back. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can you hear? I'm back. I got disconnected.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry. Before we move on with the keynote address from Dr. Jedsada, we would like to release the conference souvenir in the presence of the chief guest, the keynote speaker, the dignitaries, and all the delegates. We now like to release the conference souvenir. I request Dr. Pave Anand to share the conference flipbook with us all.
Yes, ma'am. Can you see that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes, sir. That's it, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes. I now like to invite our keynote speaker, Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian, Associate Dean, International Academy of Aviation Industry, King Mongkut's Institute of Technology, Bangkok. He is the lead instructor for FSPCA, Preventive Controls for Human Food, and FSPCA Foreign Supplier Verification Programs training course developed by Food Safety Preventive Controls Alliance. He also works to support food manufacturers in Thailand, Vietnam, Myanmar, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, India, and all other Asian countries for exporting their food and beverage products to United States. Before joining KMITL, he worked for manufacturing business, logistics business, and academic institute. His research interests include supply chain risk management, quality and production management, statistical and fuzzy quality control, application of fuzzy logic and neural networks for production and distribution problems, system dynamic simulation, multi-criteria decision models, and perishable air cargo logistics. It is our privilege to have Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian with us today as the keynote speaker for the conference inaugural event. I now request Mr. Manikannan to play the intro video for Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian to introduce him to our audience today. Manikannan sir, video please. Thank you, sir. I now invite Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you very much for a wonderful introduction.
Professor Jedsada, you are not audible. You need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
You are not audible.
No, we can hear, sir.
Good, sir.
Good morning. Everyone can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for a wonderful introduction. Chief guest Jay Vijayan, Dr. C.V. Jayakumar, Dr. C. Kumatis, and my friend Dr. Prasanna Devi, distinguished guests, our participants, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased and privileged to be part of the conference today. I would say, Wanakam, because I actually last 15 years ago, during my PhD as Asian Institute of Technology, at that time I got scholarship from Indian government, from the Ministry of External Affairs, and then I moved to India and pursue PhD with Professor Rouse at Anna University, Chennai. At the same time with Dr. Prasanna Devi. That is very good opportunity to learn more in India, in new environments for me. So I'm very happy every time when I have chance to participate any function, any program with Indian friends. Yeah. So today, I'm not the expert in the computer science and engineering, but I'm the part of the application. I apply the digital technology in my field, in logistics and supply chain management field. So let me share slides. So what I'm going to talk is digitalization in food safety and international trade. So actually now I'm working in logistics management program. This under an International Academy of Aviation Industry. Here we offer 3 programs. First one, Bachelor of Engineering in Aeronautical Engineering and Commercial Pilots. After graduate can work as a pilot and also can be engineer. The second is Bachelor of Engineer in Aeronautical and Aerospace Engineering. So the third one is Bachelor of Science in Logistic Management. So for logistic management here, we focus more in the air cargo logistics because we work specific with the aviation industry. However, it's not limited to aviation industry. We also work for manufacturing logistics, work for agricultural logistics. So in my field, I focus more in perishable air cargo logistics and food supply chain. So apart from the lecturer at the King Mongkut Institute of Technology, Las Krabang, I also lead instructor for Food Safety Preventive Control Alliance. This is a platform under support by US FDA and with collaboration with Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago, USA. So for example, in Asia, when we produce food and agriculture, we cannot only consume in the domestic our own country. For example, here, South India, we export. If you see in South India, it's a part of South India, and they export to main part is United States. Apart from that, also come to Thailand, Sudan, Singapore, Pakistan, and Netherlands, and Korea, Nepal, Pakistan, so something like that. So not only the South India, every country in Asia, we are in the tropical zone. So we export more to European country and United States. If we see in United States, they also import from Asia and import from European country. So they year by year, their importing quantity is increasing. If you see the statistic from 2005 to until 2019, is every from 2009 is every year increasing. More than 13,000 or 13 trillions in US dollar. So in the supply chain, specifically for the cold chain or perishable chain of food and agriculture and pharmaceutical chain, we need more to control. We have several factors to control and need the transparent during supply chain. For example, here, we need to know the temperature during the transportation. We need to know the other factor, for example, ethylene production. We need to know relative humidity. We need to know some other factor that be able to control the quality. So without this kind of data, we difficult to monitor, we difficult to verify and validate. So in the supply chain, we have the quality issue to control during supply chain. So for example, if we transport by air, the product we transport by air is more valuable than the transport by sea. Because air transportation is more expensive than transport by sea. So this is for it shows some activity that is handling before loading to the aircraft. So this is some product that we export and import in Suvarnabhumi Airport in Thailand. This is we need to prepare. We need to prepare before loading or to the aircraft. So we need to control the temperature, and we need to track the temperature level, and then we will be able to monitor and control the quality of the product during air transportation. And after we do treatment or some package handling operation in the cargo terminal. After that, product will be loading to aircraft. And this is our student we sent to work with the industry during program. Here we have the cooperative and work integrated education program. It's a part of the degree. When students study in the third year, we will send students to work in industry. By the time they also develop their proposal and do the senior project at the industry. So they work as a cooperative and work integrated education project as a senior project. So job mentor and the industry also part of the committee member for project review and project progress and project defense examination. So our lecturer from university will make a visit to the industry, come for meeting, for proposal meeting, for progress meeting, and defense meeting. So this from this picture, they go and work at the cargo agent company in the Suvarnabhumi Airport. And this one, I think this one is import perishable cargo Pfizer vaccine, and this part export what is fresh produce. Normally in the air cargo from Thailand, the major part in export is fresh fruit and vegetable, and the major volume for import is the pharmaceutical products. So when we do international trade for food product, for example. We need to comply with the regulation, law, something like that. In the yellow shade, it is when we export product to US, we need to comply with this kind of regulation. If we want to export product to European country, the right-hand side, it is some of the standard and regulation it need to comply. This is the some regulation in US. So actually, even though technology is progressed, when we send the when we work for aerospace, the pilot in aerospace, and scientists in aerospace, and they need to eat food, right? So when we send food to the aerospace, we need to make sure that that food is safe, is clean, is safe. Otherwise, the consumer will get food poisoning, foodborne poisoning. So it's become the big problem. So this is some of the regulation when we export food product to US. We need to comply with this. So this is some of regulation. I don't want to talk more detail about the regulation. I only want to convey that to comply with this kind of the regulation, we need to get some data and we need to do analysis. And also we need to make decisions. So how to work to comply with this kind of regulation and with the relevant data, with the accessible data, and is sufficient data to make decisions. So digital technology is come to play the vital role in this. For example, this kind of data during shipment, during air transportation. So temperature is fluctuate, it's go down, it's go up, go down. So how will we know that how temperature is changed between transportation? So we need to have the technology to track the temperature. Right? So, and not only that, if we have already technology, we will check at when it reaches the destination. It is the destination. But now we have technology, Internet of Things, for example, IoT is also can apply and can track at real time. We will know that what is the temperature level at present and where is product located and something like that. So we'll certify more to the customer when they want to know how we take care of that product during transportation. And this also, we try to track the quality factor, is also temperature during the transportation. So during we keep in the aircraft, we have the different zone of aircraft. So we check the temperature in different area in the aircraft to check how much temperature level is going on. So Internet of Things is one that can be used, and I'm not the expert to develop and work with the Internet of Things methodology, but I already apply Internet of Things is already developed by the provider. So for example, we have the project to change the control temperature truck, use the other material, and then we check the temperature during transportation and when it reaches destination. So this is how we apply the, we can see the result from the application, how the temperature is going on during the transportation. And also we use the drone in the warehouse to check where is the product is located. So in case the warehouse is small, it's fine. But in case it's very warehouse is very large, and then it's difficult to walk around. So normally drone in Thailand is not allowed to fly out of the building. But in case we allow in some area, for example, for agriculture. But in the city and in the industrial zone, it's not allowed to fly over the building. So, but in within the building. So we have within the building, we allow to have the drone, small drone, fly and can use some those technology integrated to work for warehouse and inventory management. We can use along with remote sensing, RFID or AI to inspect products located, to monitor. Also, sometimes we can monitor cleaning and sanitizing. In some parts of the factory, it's dirty, and then the staff not able to clean and to check it. So drone is also applicable for this case. So blockchain is one part of the wonderful method that applicable for traceability in food supply chain. For example, Walmart, that is one of the famous retail in US. They apply for food import from China, for example. They want to know where is the product original from, and they want to prevent the food flood and fake products come to the chain. So by apply hyperledger private blockchain, and is this applicable for food supply chain and international trade. And for the quality management system, it is needed for international trade. So when we export through different countries, for example, from India, export to US, export to UK, export to Japan, export to Australia, export to Korea, for example. So in different countries, they have their system to they have their own system. They accept different quality system. So they may require the exporter to comply with different standards. So it's difficult for the manufacturer, exporter to do a record again and again with the paper. So if we can transform, we can digitize, change from the paper to the digital form, and then from the digital form, it can keep in the cloud, right? So it's cloud computing, and then when they verify the record, is applicable to verify from long distance. It's not necessary to verify at the factory itself. It also, when they do auditing, auditor can audit in the remote, in the distant mode. It is distant mode. So they don't need to make a visit in the factory every time, and also can facilitate the operator, supervisor, manager can work and record more convenient than the paper. So actually, the status to apply digitalization in Thailand is still limited. It's not much applied now. It still be the status of digitization. We try to transform from paper and some manuals to digitization. So to do digital transformation, I think we need some steps. Some big company already done, but the major parts of the company, food industry and export, is still in process. And I think most of them already aware that they can apply the digital technology for food safety, for international trade. But the implementation part is still less than 50%. And it's a chance for computer science engineering to encourage, develop, and apply the methodology in this field in food safety and international trade. And this part also we apply for the food safety and international trade when we design the products with the specific nutrients contents. So robot and automation is a very good choice for this one. And big data when we try to search for food fraud, for example, and some other issue for food safety, big data is a part of the area that we can apply for the food fraud and food defense and food safety. Computer simulation, this is we use for mostly for optimization when we work with different products. So we can do simulation. I think that this one is not complicated to understand for you. You are an expert in this area already. And AR, VR used for training actually. Main part we use for training. For example, when we export product to US, in food industry, they need to have the preventive control qualified individual, or we call PCQI. This person must be certified, must be trained and certified by lead instructor from FSPCA, USA. So now, because of COVID pandemic, so they're not able to train in on-site, but face-to-face. So online AR, VR is applicable in this part. 3D printing, when we design the products to we get demand, and with the specifics for some patient, for some people in some age, old people, in young people, and some with specific condition. So we can design product as per that condition. Artificial intelligence, normally we can use, we already apply mainly now in food industry. We apply in sorting product. We can screen product when in the receiving raw material receiving, for example, when you receive tomato and you say that it is, you have to screen tomato at the red level. So in that red level, artificial intelligence able to apply. And also we use for food defense when we have the attacker come to the factory. So it can use the face remember, something like that, to monitor and allow the staff or people into the shop floor. So blockchain is one of case study that IBM apply for food product import to export to US. They call they have ready to use name food trust. Food trust is the one application developed by IBM. This already applied in food industry. So they also provide the platform tool for developer to develop blockchain for different contexts. So luckily that they provide the support sandbox to develop for research and development. So that is all my talk. Any questions?
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, okay. I hope this can benefit to participants in the conference. And in the future, you are expert in the computer science engineering, and I'm working in the application part. If you want to apply and visit Thailand, and then you can come and share with our students here, because our students will work in industry for full month, for example. You can share some problems, some data, and develop in your own methodology. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian, for the informative session to the researchers and academicians who have joined the conference. In fact, you touched upon almost all the trending domains today, including data science, IoT, blockchain, AR, VR, 3D design, and artificial intelligence. The way these technologies are applied in the real-time industry and the standards and methodologies followed in the industry were explained well in detail. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful keynote address. And thanks for setting up the right platform in the inaugural event for us to take the conference agenda forward in the next 2 days. Thank you.
Welcome, very much
Bef-
welcome.
Thank you,
So
Jedsada.
I now invite our conference organizing secretary, Dr. M. Durga Devi, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, to deliver the oath of thanks.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Mr. Jay Vijayan, sir, the founder and CEO of Tekion, Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian, Associate Dean, International Academy of Aviation Industry, our respected Dean, sir, Dr. C.V. Jayakumar, our respected VPs, our beloved HOD ma'am, Dr. S. Prasanna Devi, other department heads, faculties, and all the enthusiastic participants. So it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Vadapalani campus, extend a very heartfelt gratitude to the chief guest, Mr. Jay Vijayan, for gracing this occasion amidst his very busy schedules and sharing with us some valuable insights on IoT, cloud, and data science, which is the conference theme. Thank you very much, sir. I also thank Mr. Aravind Gowda, the Communication Director of Tekion, for taking his time out in fixing the speaker schedule with us. Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity to extend my most sincere thanks to our keynote speaker, Dr. Jedsada Tipmontian, for his very informative address on digitalization in food safety and international trade. So thank you very much, sir. I also wish to express my gratitude to our beloved patrons of the event, the Dean and the Vice Principals, for their support to carry out the various works related to the event. I also thank our beloved HOD ma'am for giving us the complete guidance and support and for providing the encouragement in organizing this event. Thank you, ma'am. I thank all the faculty members and students for their involvement they have shown and the willingness they have expressed to take on the completion of the task beyond all their comfort zones. I also duty bound to thank all our support staff like the programmers, the ITKM, and special thanks to the library staff for extending their support for enabling us to conduct this conference in such a grand mode. So ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being with us in the inaugural function. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Durga Devi. With the successful completion of the inaugural event, we now like to move on with the conference agenda. Session 1 will be started now. We'll have Dr. Fatima, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, the coordinator for session 1, who would initiate and take it up further. Over to Fatima, ma'am. I request all the session speakers to please continue in the same meeting. We will just get session 1 started right away. Thank you.
Thank you, Jedsada. I think the other participants who just wants to listen to the session 1 can stay back and others can leave. Thanks. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Madam, thank you. I'm leaving.
Ma'am.
Somehow we managed with the phone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Avi ma'am.
Sir?
Ma'am, recording stop பண்ணிடலாமா?
Sir, stop பண்ணிருங்க. நீங்க கோல்டா மேம் வந்து ஹோஸ்ட் ஆக்கிருங்க சார்
host
இன்னைக்கு.
ஆக்கிருங்க.
1 minute, sir. Golda ma'am is going to connect now. She's shifting to a different place. Signal is bad here. Please give her 2 minutes, sir. Then she will connect.
Okay,
you can
ma'am.
make her the host.
Okay, Pavai ma'am. Pavai ma'am.
I'll wait until you come.
Pavai ma'am.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Manikanan, sir. Yeah, please tell me, sir.
Ma'am, YouTube link live போயிட்டு இருக்கு. Stop பண்ணிடலாமா? Is finished now.
Ma'am, HOD ma'am.
HOD ma'am.
Yes, sir. You can stop it, sir.
Okay, thank you ma'am.
Manikanan, sir, please wait for Golda ma'am to join.
Yeah, please wait for Golda ma'am to join, sir. அதுக்கப்புறம் இந்த ரெக்கார்டிங்கை கரெக்டா ப்ராசஸ் பண்ணி சிஸ்டம்ல வச்சிருங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் I'll give you a drive link. Please put it there, sir.
Sir, and Fatima ma'am has to be given co-host permission, sir. She's asking you to unmute. Please give co-host permission to her.